Welcome to the podcast from the St. Louis Sportists, an occasionally smart, always irreverent look at sports in St. Louis and beyond. And now, your St. Louis Sportists.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the St. Louis Sportists podcast. My name is Ron Cook, and tonight I am joined by Joe Sperlin.
Good to be back after an assignment last week.
Doug Lansdowne.
Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well.
And Tom Mathis.
Hello, everybody.
Keith Farrell is on assignment this evening. And in this edition, big wins for Mizzou and the Chiefs. The Cardinals move on from Mo and likely Arenado. And the final attendance numbers are bleak. A much-anticipated Ryder Cup is ready to tee off. The Blues are playing hockey again, and City wins for the second consecutive week. The St. Louis Sportists are brought to you by First Coast Steel Buildings. Jason and his team will take your project from design to completion with a family-first approach. Learn more at firstcoaststeel.com. That's the number one ST Coast, steel.com. And we'll hear more from them later in the show. And tonight's last call is brought to you by Black Dog Consulting, here to help the one-truck owner and the small fleet owner to grow and prosper. Contact Dave Reinhardt at 417-217-1210. Black Dog Consulting, helping you retrieve bigger profits. We would like to ask you to like, rate, or follow us on X, Facebook, or Blue Sky. We're also on Instagram, and our website is stlsportists.com. And now it's time for Quick Hits. Joe Sperlin, what do you have?
I'd like to talk a little bit about the Auburn OU game, and I'm not even going to talk about the non-athletic official that missed the pass interference call. But the running the player off the field, I mean, in baseball, I think that's called Bush League. There's a saying in football what that is. I cannot say what footballers call it. But the thing that gets me is Bob Stoops on the radio, OU radio, even said they practiced that play. I saw them run that in practice. It's illegal. And then they even asked the official if they even told the officials. Now, I did not hear if the officials approved it or not, but it's illegal. Now, when you watch college football and you see those guys up in the press box, there's like 20 dudes up there and they're all watching certain things. Auburn had to see that. And if I'm Hugh Freeze, I throw the biggest temper tantrum. I would have went and sat in the middle of the field until they changed that call. I mean, that was just, blatant cheating.
What we have here is a total disrespect for the law.
Exactly. The thing is, they changed those rules because of the substitution. And it used to be that player had to go back inside the numbers. But now with the substitution, once they leave the huddle, the only way they get to come back in and be a legal player is they have to come back to the huddle. And on film or on TV, they even showed it. He didn't even come close.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I remember when Joe Tiller was, I almost think of the current substitution rules as the Joe Tiller rules. After the mayhem he was doing where he would run three wide receivers on before the ball was snapped after they broke the huddle.
Yes.
Well, and then Joe, there's the picture of the Oklahoma dude with both arms around the Auburn guy that's going up to catch the ball. That one's been all over the internet too.
Yeah. And the official's doing the worst form of karaoke down the field you can see. He's got his back and he's turned sideways like this, not even looking. Hey, let's not put the non-athletes out there. Let's get someone athletic back there.
That was just an unfortunate game all the way around. Mr. Mathis, what do you have?
So I know it's in the middle of the football season, but the Missouri Tigers have something else to be excited about. Right now, the college basketball recruiting class sits at number 1. 2 5-stars and a 4-star. The 4-stars should probably spend a couple months at my house so I can bulk them up, get some meat on those bones. But something to be excited about. I know one of the 5 stars is probably a one and done, but you only have a couple balls, so better play. Better share.
You're just lucky April's not on this call.
Yeah. Hey, when was the last time Mizzou had a one and done?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Michael Porter.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
And he wasn't really a one and done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, literally.
I wasn't going to say it.
Tom, I saw that one kid that you were talking about, and I asked Jamie if she remembered Sean Bradley. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He's that skinny. He's kind of like what's the kid who went to Gonzaga and now plays for Oklahoma City?
Chet.
7'5" kid.
Chet.
Yeah. Chet Holmgren. Yep.
Chet's
He's a lot
still
like
skinny.
him. Yes. He is.
Doug Lansdowne, what's up?
I'm going to stick with college football too. And how about that beatdown that Indiana gave Illinois? I mean,
I did not see that coming.
No, I don't think any of us did. And like old Coach Kurt says, Google me. All I do is win.
Hey, and pretty much called them out like we knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, when it was done, like, yeah, okay, whatever, big deal. We were expecting that and almost expecting that score too.
Yep.
I saw his record since he came to Indiana, and that's video game stuff. It's crazy good.
Yep.
He won't be staying.
That was just where I was going. So the question then is, gee, does he build a dynasty at Indiana, or does I don't know, Clemson give him a call? Hypothetically.
We'll talk about Clemson in a bit, but I don't know if they'll be looking.
But no, Doug, you're right. I mean, when you ask Illinois people up here what happened, they're like, next subject.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, and they have USC coming next. So,
yeah, no rest for the throttled here. I'm going to stick with a gentleman that's worn his share of orange in the day, and that is Mr. Bruce Pearl, who is 42 days before the basketball season begins, leaving the University of Auburn. This surprised me when I read it. The winningest coach in Auburn history.
Not much competition there, though.
That's a good point. That's a pretty good point.
Cliff Ellis? No, yeah. Can't remember who was there.
I can see the guy with the glasses and the hair, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
It'll come to me 10 minutes after we're done recording this.
Don DeVoe.
Yes, thank you. So his son Stephen is going to take over. Erin Andrews did not return my call for comment, so I don't know what she has to say about the whole situation. And then, he says he's going to stay with the university as an ambassador. But there are strong rumors that he may be preparing to run for Senate to replace yet another former coach. That would be Mr. Tommy Tuberville, because Tommy is going to run for governor of Alabama.
I listened to Coach Pearl's interview with Feinbaum back about a month ago, and when it was on live that afternoon when I was driving back, and he sounded different. I mean, he did not have his normal vigor. You could just tell. I thought, gosh, he sounded kind of, he just sounded different. So,
as I said, NIL got another one.
Yep.
Yeah. It's almost like we're going to see younger coaches that have the energy to deal with NIL, because, some of those guys that coached up into their 60s and 70s and such, I just don't know if they would, unless they have a really good, what were we saying they were getting at South Florida, general manager?
Yes, I was going to say
CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you a place that's doing pretty well in terms of NIL, and that's the University of Missouri-Columbia. Tom Mathis, they rolled up 285 yards rushing on 48 attempts in their 29-20 win over South Carolina. Not bad.
No, that rushing attack is pretty impressive. And we talk about NIL and transfer portal. They have two great examples right there in Ahmad Hardy and Bo Perula. And then, they have Jamal Roberts. He was already here, but you put those three together and you put those wide receivers on the edges and do some reverses and sweeps with them. And I mean, they're pretty impressive. And they did all that with the backup left tackle after the starting left tackle had surgery on Thursday or Friday. So, he didn't even get to work with the first team all week.
Yeah, that was impressive. And then when they kind of needed to run the ball near the end of the game, they were able to execute. Hardy, as you mentioned, 138 yards. Roberts 76, Frabula 72. The rushing stat for the game was South Carolina 285 to -9 in favor of Mizzou. Well, but it wasn't all rainbows and seashells, was it, Doug? Because there were a lot of Carolina guys kind of running free in that secondary.
Holy hell. That first half especially. Good grief. There was twice, because I rewound it, there wasn't a guy within 7 yards of their deepest receiver. And like you and I talked, how Sellers missed that one guy, I don't know, but I can't explain what was going on back in that secondary. They were pitiful.
Well, and if you go back to last year in the other Columbia in South Carolina, that's what cost him the game when Carolina went the length of the field, and it was like, 25 seconds or something, Tom? It was a very short period of time.
Felt like 3.
Yeah.
But it wasn't much. But I think there's going to be some changes made to the secondary. I know one of the safeties has left the program. And then they was reading some Drinkwitz comments, and he didn't realize that one of the guys didn't play most of the second half. So to me, that shows that he probably won't be playing much this coming weekend. So,
well, I'll tell you this, and this is where they don't announce this stuff, but you can play 4 games and then take a red shirt. So if someone's not happy with what's going on in their program, they'll just say, "Hey, I'm taking a red shirt, and I will be in the portal as soon as I can."
That's what he's doing.
And I'm done, and see ya.
And he'll be one of those guys that it'll be like this is his 7th year as a college football player.
They've already got one of those. Catalon is in year 7.
He's the guy who didn't play in the second half.
Exactly. Number 6. But in year 7.
Hey, I do want to bring up, though, the kicker. He hit that kick at the end, to ice the game. And, I mean, it might be helpful down the road, that he did that. Give him some confidence, because that wasn't, they didn't think that he was even going to kick it. They thought it was going to be the other kid. So I'm glad he got it.
Yeah, and if you're the University of Missouri-Columbia, the good news is you have basically 2 weeks to prepare for the Crimson Tide coming to Columbia, because you've got UMass this week, followed by a week off. And there are some that would argue they have 2 weeks off, but I digress.
I say this. Iowa scored 47 on UMass. That's all I'm going to say.
Mizzou might get 100.
Oh, yeah.
They might.
That's going to be unfortunate. Joe Sperl and the SEC named their quote-unquote permanent opponents, which in this case permanent is 4 years. Sounds like some of my marriages. It ends up the big news is they get Texas A&M, which was kind of the shocker. Arkansas makes sense. Oklahoma makes sense. A&M, I think they were hoping for like a Kentucky or a South Carolina there.
It wasn't everybody right now. Everybody can't play Kentucky or and I'm probably not Kentucky, but Mississippi State. I think at Texas A&M I think that's a good matchup for Mizzou.
I think it is too, and you're right, because it's like everyone's like, well, we could play we have a rivalry with Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure you do.
I like the Kentucky one just because it could be a natural rival. They're bordering state, so that would have been nice. A&M doesn't bother me. But they really never played in the Big 12 either. That's what everybody says is they were in the Big 12 together, and they really didn't play much then. So,
hey, and I think Mizzou wants to play in Texas.
Yeah,
because for recruiting.
uh-huh.
I mean, as
That's
soon
what-
as they
remember,
joined the
people
SEC
always
in the
wanted
first couple, after the players were gone and there was those little bleak years, when they were good, it was because like over half their team or 2/3 of their team was from Texas.
yep.
Pinkel
And
had
then
a
it kind of-
pipeline.
the Texas
Pinkel.
connection dropped off, and now it's probably back.
No, I kind of liked the way it shook out for Missouri. I mean, if you're a Missouri fan, like Joe said, you want to be in Texas playing. I'm glad they're playing Oklahoma again, and then I'll take Arkansas.
If they get thumped by Notre Dame, I think they got a bye week, and that could be another week that Bobby slides over. Bobby slides over in the main office is all I'm
Yep.
going to say.
I was going to ask you guys, since you're down there closer than I am, what are we hearing about like the potential future Arkansas? I guess I'd call it the permanent Arkansas coach.
Well, there's a lot of Arkansas people that don't want Petrino either, though.
Yeah.
Because they look back and they say, well, look how it ended for him at Louisville.
Yeah.
So he's had a long, long time since he was successful, at D1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, they like offensively what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of other places that might be looking for a new coach, Joe Sperlin, boy, Dabo is like in meltdown mode in Clemson.
I don't know. I don't think they'll fire Dabo. I mean, okay, they lost to They lost to a pretty good team. Georgia Tech's pretty good. Syracuse, okay, maybe that wasn't a good game, but I don't know how you can fire Dabo just because he's 1-3. If that's how it's going to be, hey, now, does he maybe need to sit there and say, okay, maybe we need to consider this portal a little bit more? But I don't know how you can even consider firing him and his buyout. Holy cow. Hey, he's like that one gal, you're going to have to win the Powerball more than once to pay that dude off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He has a very good agent. I'll say that. So no, I think Dabo, and the question is, Doug, where do they come out of this? Do they, end up losing only these games and Dabo's politicking to try to get in the playoffs? Or is this just kind of one of those seasons where they sit him down afterward and say, hey, I know that you've been all anti-portal, but maybe it's time you took a look at that?
I think that's what they'll do. I think they'll say, okay, you've been the one guy who fought it the most for these years. Everybody said you were set up, ready to go this year. This is your year, and look how it's backfired on you. So I think that's what they'll do. Probably some of the bigger boosters are saying, you better look how you do things.
I saw a deal that the top 7 rated portal teams are undefeated. Now, a lot of them haven't played anybody, but still, the top portal teams rated are undefeated. You sit there and say, all right, what if Notre Dame loses to Arkansas? Does that mean they're going to fire Marcus Freeman?
I doubt that.
Yeah.
I doubt
think
that.
that's the same thing with Dabo. Yeah, they're not very happy with him, but come on, man.
Well, and speaking of firing, there is one of our all-time favorites that did not avoid the Grim Reaper this past week, and that is Mr. Gundy at Oklahoma State. Doug, I think it was time.
He was my pick to be the first axe. So
close.
Yep. He there's another guy just couldn't get out of his own way the last couple of years.
My thoughts are he should have let him finish the season.
Yeah.
I'll say this. If T-Bone Pickens was still alive,
yeah,
Oklahoma State would have the money. I looked it up. He had gave for academics and athletics Oklahoma State $652 million.
Oh. Wow.
Now,
that's mind-blowing.
he died in 2019. So imagine if they'd have said, "Hey, T-Boone, now you can give us all the money you want, and we're going to pay our players."
Oh,
He
dear
might have given him
God.
another $600 million.
He might have. But, back to our friend Mr. Gundy for just a second. I'm not going to be surprised if it doesn't become Mike Gundy Field at T-Bone Pickens Stadium. I mean, because that guy, as a player and as a coach, it is hard to find a more influential person in that history of that program.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I would be
20 years. Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be fine with that. So let's go quickly to the NFL. The Chiefs, Doug, you remember 83 when the White Sox, Tony La Russa was there, and they called it winning ugly. I think the Chiefs were winning ugly on Sunday.
Yeah. I thought they played pretty good. I mean, I don't think the Giants are terrible. Now, Russell helped out, but I mean, I thought they played pretty good. I mean, I think they're a 10-7 team. I thought that was probably the record before they started the season.
I was listening to, we were out going back and forth, and I heard Mike Golick on the radio refer to a couple of Russell's passes as moonballs.
Yeah. That interception he threw in the end zone was terrible.
Oh. The interception in the end zone, and then the one where it looked like he just dropped back and threw it as high and far as he could.
The Giants have got some dudes on that defensive line, too.
Yes, they do.
They do, and I'll just say that having Cam Scatabo on my fantasy team is something that I am looking forward to for the remainder of the season.
Yes.
That guy's got some steam. The Chiefs will have the Ravens this week in a marquee 325 matchup on Sunday, and Joe Sperlin, the loser, will be 1-3. What if I told you before the season that one of those two teams would be 1-3 after week 4?
The Chiefs, I might have agreed. The Ravens, I got to sit there and go, "Whoa, that's my Super Bowl team. They got to get their crap together." Hey, I hope their fans don't demand a firing of the loser of this game, Reed or Harteball. If they say, "Hey, you're 1-3, you got to go."
Did you see Lamar come to the sideline that one time and yank his helmet off and start cussing and slamming his helmet? Oh, he was hot.
Derrick Henry almost broke his leg after he fumbled and threw his helmet down and rolled across the bench.
We were watching that game with Dr. Kim Simons and Rich Erker, and I forget who made the comment that he was looking a little bit like Samuel Jackson after he ripped the helmet off.
I think I saw that picture on the X that they compared those, yeah.
Well, whoever it was either Kim or Jamie said this live, and I'm like, that's a nice pickup right there on the fly. But back to the Giants quickly. It looks like we were all a little bit late on our Jaxon Dart predictions. After the Moonballs, no more Russell Wilson, at least for a while.
There's some pieces. I mean, but if he comes out and plays great the first week, I don't think he'll play great the second week because the NFL, they figure that stuff out. So
he needs to send some money to Chris Collinsworth when they were sitting there talking about that Jaxon Dart was Patrick Mahomes in practice and looked exactly like him and played just like him, did all that. So, and those fans are going to be going, then why aren't we playing this kid? And what do you know? Guess who's playing next week?
Well, they gave Collinsworth the script, obviously.
Yeah.
And speaking of the script, Roger Goodell himself, Joe, I want to give you credit. This is one of those, I forget if this was an official prediction or not, but I do remember you absolutely saying this. It came out today that 16.2 million people watched the Kansas City-San Diego game that first week, which
Los
is
Angeles.
very...
Los
thank
Angeles.
you. Thank
Chargers.
you.
LA Chargers are on.
Chargers, yes. I have to do that once a week or it's not an official podcast. It's like So 16.2 is a really good number, proving that YouTube is a viable channel. And yesterday they asked Roger Goodell, are we going to see a streaming Super Bowl? And his comment was, anything is possible. Why he didn't just say yes, I'm not quite sure. So Joe Sperlin, congratulations on being years ahead of that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Greed, for a lack of a better word, is good.
We're going to hear a quick word from a sponsor, and when we come back, it will be Blue Horseshoes Corner. And it is time for our weekly visit with Coach Joe Sperlin, Blue Horseshoes Corner, your handicapping expert. We would like to remind you once again that these picks are for entertainment, recreational purposes only. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please dial 1-800-GAMBLER. With that, Joe Sperlin.
Unless you're listening to Ron's recreational college picks and has done an outstanding job.
Yes, sir.
Hope he keeps that rolling. Let's see what happens. So, hey, let's go back to the old Fighting Illini and Burt at home. They got the Trojans coming in from USC. USC, home dog, Illinois, -6.5.
Those people in those windowless rooms in Vegas know what they're doing.
Yes. Tom, what do you think? It's currently at 6.5.
Can't count on Brett anymore. I'm going with the USC.
Doug?
I think Burt rallies the troops and they win and cover.
Oh, a win outright. Ron, what do you think?
I think that the Mr. Riley, Lincoln Riley, has his best rushing attack since he has been at USC. So that's a balanced offense, which creates trouble for the reeling Illini, USC.
You know, as I once again did a little studying, USC is number 4 in the nation in tackles for loss. You know who number 1 is? Indiana.
Wow.
USC has never won in the Eastern or Central time zone since they've been in the, as I like to call it, the Big 12 North. But I'm taking USC. All right, Ron, we're going to let you start on this one because we know LSU at Ole Miss. Ole Miss -1.5 at home.
There is extra motivation for LSU because they believe that they had a very good season derailed in Oxford a couple of years ago. I'm going to go with the Tigers, and you're talking last possession, white knuckle.
Oh.
Tight. LSU wins.
Doug, what do you think?
I think LSU wins easily.
Tom?
I agree with Doug. I think LSU wins, and it won't be much of a contest.
Do you know the home team has won the last 5 straight up and covered the last 7?
Wow.
But I think LSU's pretty dang good. You know, they
Defense travels.
Kiffin was on Pat McAfee, and they announced the quarterback, and Kiffin says, I was not aware of that. Thanks for telling me. I'll tell our staff that what we should have been doing wrong. So Kiffin slowly trying to turn himself into the current Steve Spurrier. So
I really enjoyed the picture coming out of LSU Captain Whit Weeks, who is now dating Lane Kiffin's daughter.
Ron, you're stealing my last call there.
Damn it!
But there's more. So let's go to Oregon at the whiteout. Penn State -3.5. Doug?
Dan Lanning goes in there and wins.
I'll have what he's having.
Tom, what will you have?
Dan Lanning goes in and trounces James Franklin's Nittany Lions.
I'm with you guys. 2 words, James Franklin. That's all I'm
I figured I was expecting a not so fast, my friend, and some trend or something. So okay.
No. My trend is James Franklin.
Yeah.
And Ron, I'll let you. Alabama at Georgia. Georgia -3.5.
By the way, this was on the list of games that are going away that people are like, oh man, it would have been fun. But man, Alabama in their 3 games, it's like, okay, you got too many rivals.
Well, I'll say this. Do you know that I was looking at this? Oregon and Penn State, until this year, had never played in regular season since 1964, which makes sense. But then they were also saying there's a possibility they could play each other 3 times this year. Oregon and Penn State, if they played in the championship game and then somehow met in the playoffs.
That's right. Oh, my.
Same as Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
James Franklin's going to lose the first 2, so they won't be a third.
Yeah. They won't. I say there won't be a third. Tom, what do you think about this game? The Bulldogs and the Tide.
I think DeBauer's going to be okay in Alabama, but I don't think right now is the time for him to be playing Georgia. Georgia wins, and they'll cover.
Okay. Ron, you're shaking your head.
Tom Mathis is right.
Okay. Doug?
I don't have a pen, but I'll use my finger.
I was hoping you, because I got one.
I'll take the Tide and the points.
I tell you what, I think that Ty Simpson is pretty dang good. I think they just run into a buzzsaw of Florida State, embarrassed of coming in and just probably preparing for that game since the season was over. And Alabama has won 9, I believe, out of the last 10 and 7 out of 13.
Wow.
So, no, I know the 9 out of 10. So, all right. And then the homecoming game, UMass at Mizzou, which is currently 43.5. The half, very important half, 43.5. Ron, I think I saw somewhere that it might already be up to 45, but at the time of publishing, 43.5. Ron, what do you think?
I think I have said this multiple times this year so far. Eli runs it up. They're not happy being where they are in the ratings, and so they want to go higher, so they will smashify UMass.
Doug, I see you shaking your head.
I think Mizzou wins by almost 60.
Tom?
Mizzou, hopefully we see the second and third teamers in around halftime or so, but I still think that they win. UMass lost to Bryant College. So, I don't know what else we can say.
Is that a going concern, or is that like that Saturday Night Live skit they did where you just gave the money and you only had to be on campus for Parents Weekend and they gave you a degree?
Yeah,
I think so.
Hey,
that's probably right.
Drink is a cover machine, and it's homecoming. It's a bye week. It's kind of like school, Doug, right before Christmas break.
Yep.
You can't get anybody to do anything. Drink's going to be around having a good time. They're already going to be talking about Alabama. 52-10. That's the score. So,
okay.
Give me. Are they
the Minutemen?
They're not the Minutemen. What are they? What is
they're the Minutemen.
They're the Minutemen. Yeah.
Hey, because all I want to say is, John Calipari, I'll kill you if you run the score up on me.
Ooh, one of the other great video clips of all time.
I'll kill you.
It's worth watching that Big Ten 30 for 30, or the Big East 30 for 30, just to see that.
Yes. All right, that's it. You ready to go to the NFL?
We are, Mr. Mathis. Enjoy your siesta.
You know, one of the games were that other LA team, but I think, Ron, there's an unspoken word that we will never have them on, even if they play the Chiefs.
Nope.
They will not be on. So they were on my list, and I said, what am I thinking? And marked it out.
He marked that out.
Banned. They're banned.
And we're not even going to say their name. I think that's why he calls them San Diego Chargers, because he's not even going to say LA. Minnesota versus Pittsburgh at Dublin, Ireland, 8:30 Sunday morning. Get the Bloody Marys ready, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Minnesota minus 2.5. Doug, what do you think?
I think Minnesota covers that because Pittsburgh loses last week if New England doesn't fumble it 400 times on the 1-yard line.
Agreed. Ron?
I have yet to be okay. I am relying on what Doug Lansdowne predicted for Carson Wentz, and I am taking Pittsburgh. I remain on the Mud Hut Express.
Ron, I would like to remind you, as well as you're doing in college, not so good in the NFL. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to go on the Carson Wentz bandwagon. So I'm kind of with Doug. Pittsburgh was kind of lucky to win last week. Undefeated, Philadelphia at Tampa Bay, undefeated. Philadelphia, a road favorite, -3.5. Ron?
I got a feeling that these Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to pull this one off at home, and I'll tell you why, because it feels like Philadelphia has been kind of teetering. I mean, if you watched that game against Los Angeles there, that's all I'll say. They were behind. I mean, they were way behind, and I just think that Tampa Bay is going to make a statement.
Doug, what do you think?
I'll take the points.
Okay.
Because I think not having Mike Evans hurts.
Oh, so you're going to take Philadelphia. My bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, if you ever wonder why you don't bet on the NFL, Philadelphia game last week, perfect example.
Yep.
Ha. You talk about sitting there collecting your money, and then all of a sudden, 2 seconds later, you're like, what in the hell just happened there?
That's one of those that if you are at a sports book out in Vegas, you hear all sorts of, what did Robin Williams call it in The Survivors? Carnal verbs.
Yeah. As I used to say, if this team doesn't cover, I'm going to throw my drink through that TV and run out of the sports book. The Bears, the Chicago Bears, -1.5. Speaking of Vegas, at the Vegas Raiders. I'll start off. Hey, I'm on the Bears bandwagon now. Give me Chicago. It's -1.5. They put a beat down on Dallas. Doug, what do you think?
I think Pete Carroll wakes up from his 2-week nap and gives the ball to Ashton Genty 40 times.
Yeah.
And the Raiders win and cover.
There you go. Ron?
This to me is a coin toss game, and in a coin toss game, I go with the home team. So therefore, I am taking Vegas. I'm taking Vegas, and as I said in the college, as Brent Musburger in the college game, I think that the Bears have heard how great they are all week, which typically leads to a little bit of a letdown.
The old saying, when in doubt, take the home dog. Speaking of the home dog, that would be the Kansas City Chiefs getting 2.5. Baltimore, a 2.5-point favorite. I got to go with the team I said, Baltimore. I think they got embarrassed and they'll come back and they're just Chiefs. I think there's still too many question marks. Worthy's supposed to be back. Doug, what do you think?
I think Baltimore wins by at least a touchdown.
I think there will be some Taylor Swift magic. If you've watched the Kansas City Chiefs over the last 4 years, there have been games where they're behind and you're like, well, they're totally going to, and then they get a long touchdown and then the other team fumbles. And then it's like, huh? What? How? And it's one of those, Joe, like you've talked about, where if you step away for 10 minutes and you what? I think we're in for one of those Chief games because they're just due for one. So I'm taking the Chiefs.
That sounded like April. That was an April. She gave you this. Ron, read this prepared statement.
Or I could always do the Len Dawson. I'll take the Chiefs.
Green Bay Packers -6.5 at Dallas. As I always like to say, this is that NFL trap game right here. They've given you just enough that you're like, oh, Dallas, yeah. I'll tell you, I'm going to fall for it. Dallas they got problems. I'm going to take the Packers. Ron, I'm the head shaking. I think you're in agreement.
The FCC did not ban me for referring to Foghorn Leghorn a couple weeks ago, so I'm going to go back to that analogy of when he takes the paddle and just beats the dog in the rear end, and that's what the Packers are going to do to the Cowboys this week.
Jordan Love cannot be trusted. I'm going to
That's a
take.
good point.
I'm going to take the boys and the points.
Oh, there you go. But I'm
Well,
afraid the Michael Parsons, as Jerry called him, may just go crazy. He may snap Dak Prescott in half.
He may go.
Where you can stick it.
Derek Thomas from him. I mean, we may get a Derek Thomas like experience there. So, with that, Blue Horseshoe, thank you so much.
Yes, and I will say again, that's for only entertainment purposes.
For entertainment purposes only. We are going to take a quick break here and hear from the good folks at First Coast Steel Building. Sandra Templeoff is going to take us through that.
We stand out by combining
when we come back, it's Ryder Cup time.
First approach to customer
We'll be
service.
back.
Every building is custom designed, ensuring a perfect fit for your location and purpose, while our galvanized steel guarantees durability and resilience. Contact Jason and his team at 912-314-4848 or visit their website at firstcoaststeel.com. From fun to practical to industrial, First Coast will provide a custom solution to any building need. From fun projects like a backyard bar or she shed to an industrial storage unit for your business, First Coast has you covered. Visit their website at stcoaststeel.com or give them a call at 912-314-4848. Discounts for military and first responders.
And we are back on the St. Louis Sportists podcast. It's Joe Sperlin. It's Doug Lansdowne. It's Tom Mathis, and I am Ron Cook. Keith Farrell on assignment. Doug, this seems like one of the most highly anticipated Ryder Cups in a few years.
They're always highly anticipated. This one, I think, is through the roof. I mean, if you can't get hyped up about this. So, I was lucky enough to go to four years ago up to Whistling Straits, and that was an event up there, and you can't even get there. I mean, human beings can't get there. and this was going to be in New York City, where all the human beings live and can get there. So, they are excited.
And the course adds a little something. I mean, Bethpage always has that little bit of an aura that's going to make it even more fun.
I think what Bethpage does, or what Bethpage has that helps the Americans, typically over the last several years, the Europeans have been better putters. Well, the harder the greens, the better the putters come out, big undulations and stuff like that. For as hard as Bethpage is, their greens are fairly flat. So I think that helps the Americans because, like I said, typically in the past, but Captain Keegan has taken some guys that are better putters for some of his, his captain's picks.
Did I see that they said they actually cut the rough down lower than normal, like as in, like if it was a tournament or even their clubs, because they are the club members, that they wanted it to be better, quote, better golfing conditions for these guys?
Yeah, there's people that play there a lot, and they said they had never seen the rough this low when it's not in the dead of winter.
Right.
So yeah, they cut the rough down. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. And when we're talking about the spectators, they were this. I always chuckle at some of the business aspects of it. Tom, we were listening to the same podcast this morning where they said that there are 1.5 million square feet of hospitality tents for this event. That's a little crazy.
That's really crazy. I mean, I've been out to Belle Reve when they had the PGA, and I mean, I don't think they were anywhere close to that, and they felt like there was hospitality tents all over the place. So, I mean, it's just got to be nuts.
Doug, are there any pairings that you can see coming that you think are just going to be the ones where people are going to be like texting saying, hey, you got to see this?
If I'm Luke Donald, I put Rory McIlroy and Tommy Fleetwood out together the first match and say, we're going to go win this first match and we're going to win the Ryder Cup. Because 69% of the Ryder Cups have been decided by the team that won the first match. And I don't think the Americans have got two dudes that can beat Rory and Fleetwood. as much as I want them to win. The only group that might beat them, I think, would be DeChambeau and Justin Thomas, just because they would be so over the top, crowd and stuff. But I don't think they'll play together. I could be wrong, but I don't think they will. Not the first. I'm sure he'll send Scheffler off with probably Russell Henley or Sam Burns.
In my mind, Russell Henley is a fantastic story because there was a guy that kind of would win the tournaments the week before or after a major, and then all of a sudden he's just caught fire. And now he's got he'll have a Ryder Cup participant on his resume forever.
Yeah, and he played really good in the President's Cup last year. So he's
has to help.
It's going to be interesting to see what the live guys do. DeChambeau and Rahm. I mean, just not being out there every week, well, nobody's out there every week, but, just not being the competition. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what they can do.
Well, they made a big deal about how 10 out of the 12 Americans played 2 weeks ago on the West Coast in the fall event. But what they haven't really talked about is every one of the European guys have played 2 of the last 3 weeks over on the DP World Tour. And really? those were big events over there. Yeah. I don't think, Hatton is another live guy, Terrell Hatton, and he's played so good in the majors this year. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd send Rahm and Hatton out second. I mean, those are 4 dogs you send out if you're the Europeans.
Yeah, I saw something that said that Hatton could be kind of like the stealth superstar of the event. He could be the one that everyone's like, wow, okay.
Plus those personalities.
Or he could be the one that starts cussing and pointing at one of the New York fans and wanting to fight on about the 4th hole.
Those personalities could take, that early in the match, it could take out the fans pretty quickly.
Yeah. The European group, it said they hired, it was 20 some people to follow them in the practice round, New Yorkers. A couple of them were known comedians and stuff, and all they did was scream and yell and heckle them during their practice round.
They went Happy Gilmore.
They paid 20 of these guys to follow them around while they practiced.
I did not see that. That is hilarious.
That's hilarious.
That is outstanding. That is outstanding. Of course, I can't think about Ryder Cup without just wondering what Colin Montgomery is up to. That's the, one. And then, Doug, I know you'll remember this. It was the year that the Americans had the ugliest shirts in the history of the world and made a putt, and the whole team stormed the green, and the Europeans were upset, saying that we had destroyed the green for their putt attempt.
Justin Leonard.
Yeah. There you go.
Putt. Yep. Yeah,
and man, were those ugly shirts.
They were ugly shirts, and that's also the last match of the day. Payne Stewart gave Colin Montgomery a 20-foot putt on the 18th hole, so they would have the match. And Payne's exact words were, "You've put up with enough of this shit, so I'm gonna give you this point because you deserve it." Because they had just and Colin will tell the story to this day. He said it's still the greatest thing anybody's ever done for him on the golf course. Wow. And Payne had I think there was 10 or 12 different people that Payne pointed to in the crowd and had them removed because they were screaming and yelling while Colin was trying to hit and stuff.
Well, I was going to say, Colin is the guy that would need the comedians following around. I mean, if he would have had that, maybe that would have changed his whole disposition back then.
Right.
Talk about, well, anyway. So we will look forward to that. It's Thursday, right, Doug? Is that when they tee it off?
No, Friday. Okay, excellent. And they're getting a ton of rain there tomorrow. So, ooh. Yeah, so that could be big.
Mm-hmm. Tom Mathis, your fighting St. Louis Cardinals are 78-80. And here we sit in the last week of the season, and they're 3.5 games out of the wild card. Unfortunately, the Fangraph playoff odds are 0.1.
There's a chance.
You're telling me there's a chance.
So I'm pretty happy that they waited till 5 games left of the season to start trying to win a game using the bullpen to actually win a game. We get to this point in the season where, I don't know what's left. Yeah. So I read that Miles made his own exit the other day. I didn't see Sunday's game. Do you know if that was true?
I heard that when he left the field, he took off his hat and just waved to the fans as if to say, "Hey, clap for me. Yeah, this is it."
Well, they're clapping, but it's because we won't see you pitching on this field as a Cardinal.
Yeah, yeah.
You all should applaud me. I'm leaving and never coming back.
He actually said that in his post-game comments. He actually said, to his credit, he said some really nice things about the fans. He said that, in his time here, the fans had been great if he just saw them out or whatever. And he said, but he did say people clapped. And he said, some people might be clapping because they think they'll never see me pitch again. And some were clapping in appreciation. He's like, but I don't care. All clapping is good. So that was his line.
What's going to be bad is somebody's going to sign him, and he'll probably go 12-7 next year and have a 4 or 4.0 ERA, but he might make the playoffs, but he'll pitch 100 times better than he has this year.
I've got it. Here's what's going to happen. It'll be like, when everyone bows out of the All-Star game, and it will be like, and Miles Mikolas from the Rangers has been named to the American Leagues. And you're like, no.
Just because he hasn't pitched in a week.
Right. So back to the fans. We were talking about the fans acknowledging him. Man, did we, and by the way, folks, next week or the week after, we're going to take a look back at our Cardinal predictions. Oh, some of those are going to be funny. Total attendance for the Cardinals, I could not believe this. 2,250,007. Now pay attention, 007. 19th in Major League Baseball. Last year they were 7th, the year before 4th, the year before that 2nd. That looks, Joe Sperlin, that looks like a stock in 2008, doesn't it?
Yeah. That you would dump that if you had that in your portfolio. That dog has fleas.
Yeah, exactly. 28 of the 81 home games had crowds of less than 25,000. My gosh, it's back into the 70s. And then this was a little bit of a stinger. Since July 7th, middle of the summer, 15 of the 38 games had basically 21,000 people or fewer.
Ooh.
I never thought I'd live to see. I really, really didn't think I'd see this, Doug.
That's unbelievable. That is, well, there's a reason why it's like this. I mean, that's the product they put out for 2.5 years now. So,
yeah. And not to beat this horse until it's dead, but this is the last one. And this you thought that last stat was mind-blowing? Wait till you hear this. In total, 628,000 fewer tickets were sold for Cardinal games in 2025 than a year ago. And if you go back to 2023, that is down 991,000, almost a million people. They're down almost a million from 2023. Back to applauding people that are leaving, Tom. Respectful. The fans were pleasantly respectful for John Mozeliak on Sunday.
Well, you just had the supposed BFIB there. You didn't really have the upset fans there. So that's kind of what I expected.
Yeah. And, realistically, I mean, guys had a lot of success. They're talking about him for a red jacket. Doug, I mean, he's, it started off well. Just the last 3 or 4 years have not gone so well.
No, and just the way, his demeanor and how he acted and his responses, and, you and Tom know it so much better than we do, but it just, it was like, really? You're going to talk and act that way? So, but no, he had tremendous success for a long time.
It is fairly well known that they brought in coaches to work with him on his public statements and basically how he came across in the media and the way he presented himself, and that he basically ignored all of that. So I can only imagine, having done some media coaching in my life, if you've worked with him and he seems to be all bought in, and then you hear him the next day and you're like, oh, dear God, no. Joe Sperlin, my lovely wife, Jamie K. Cook's worst nightmare has come true. There will be robot umpires next season. Is this a good thing?
I agree. I agree with her. This let him do it all.
I just wish that Angel Hernandez would have been around for this.
Yeah. Just let him do it all.
Doug Lansdowne, as you know, 60% of the ejections in last year and this year in Major League Baseball have been over balls and strikes. Are Mr. Boone and Marmol going to find new things to get thrown out over?
I don't know. That's a really, really good question. I don't know.
I can't wait till they go and scream at the TV monitor.
Start poking it.
Yeah, poking it in the chest, kicking dirt on it.
Shilk got ejected today for arguing balls and strikes. So
there you go. There you go. So go ahead, Tom.
I was just gonna say, but it was like the 7th or 8th inning. They might have used up their appeal by then, and wouldn't have had anything to go off of.
I think Spur and I were talking during spring training when they were doing it about people that just get like emotional, or they might be hotheads or whatever, and they say challenge that, and it's like everyone on the team's like no.
Wilson Contreras.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he'll be a fun one to watch. In the spring, speaking of spring training, 52, just over half of the calls were overturned, and they said each challenge took about added 14 seconds to the game. That's not bad.
No. My thing is that it's going to be sponsored by T-Mobile, so they found a way to monetize it. They don't do anything without it making up money.
How could they not?
Yeah.
Correspondent at large Joe Sperlin, the Tigers and the Mets have collapsed.
Did you see my guy Scooball just hit? I mean, he lost it. Like emotionally lost it when that ball hit that dude in the face. And then the next pitch is a wild pitch. They score a run and they're beat.
I had never seen a ball that fast hit a guy in the face.
Hey, and he was visibly upset because, I mean, it's almost like he didn't want to look because he thought the baseball was like embedded in the dude's face.
It's hard to see throws. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I did see that he and the manager visited the guy in the hospital today, so that's a classy move by Scooble. I did notice that the Indians have a 1-run lead right now, and I was thinking, Doug, wouldn't it be great if they had like one of the best closers in the game to bring in? But I guess that's not going to happen.
No, because his second pitch to the second batter would always be a ball.
Yeah. and a wild pitch. And a wild pitch, just to make sure.
Yep.
So the Tigers have gone from the best record in baseball, like the middle of the season, to 1-9 in their last 10 games.
Now, this is not a good time to be going 1-9.
No, but it's taken a great run for the Guardians going 9-1 in that same time just to catch them. So, I mean, you wouldn't have thought it would have happened, but, it's baseball.
Major League Baseball and Fox is sitting there trying to figure out how they don't get a Milwaukee-Toronto World Series.
There are some nightmare scenarios in this situation. Now, Cubs and Yankees, I think they'd be down for that. Cubs and Yankees, they'd love that. Dodgers, Yankees, again, they'd love that. But you're right. But with Milwaukee, imagine a Milwaukee-Cleveland. That'd go over like gangbusters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd love it.
Speaking of northern areas, Tom, the National Hockey League is playing preseason games. That kind of warms the cockles of your St. Louis Blues fan heart, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. But, all these other sports, they come in and practice for 2-3 weeks at a time. Then they start their exhibition games. The Blues had 2 practices, and then they're playing 2 exhibition games.
I love that.
Just throw the pucks on the ice and let them go. you don't have to worry about anything. So
I love that.
That's awesome.
That's as our friend Jeff Gordon, who's retiring from the Post-Dispatch, would frequently write. That's hockey, baby.
That's right. That's right. And the Blues have some great prospects coming in. I mean, we got Snuggerud already, but then Carbonneau, he's made an impact in these first 2 games. And I don't know, they may not have a choice but to keep him in the lineup. I know that's not what they want to do, but they might have to.
Yeah, and it was. I don't necessarily know that they were planning on playing him as much as they have been, but it's like they can't get him out of the lineup. It's kind of almost the Albert Pujols thing, where it's like, hey, we can't, pardon the double negative, but we can't not play this guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I heard, and I think it's our friend Adam Jurasek, who Chris Kerber said that somebody told him that it reminds him of a young Alex Pietrangelo, which is high praise for a young kid coming up. So we'll see if that works out. Love to see that happen.
Well, yeah, it's not bad when the worst case is he does juniors for another year and gets even better when he comes in next year.
Right. Exactly.
So,
and then one last thing on the Blues. Barrett Jackman is going to be announced to be inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame. So very, very nice honor for him and very deserved.
One of the good guys, my goodness, how many years was he with the Blues? It was just like forever. And
yeah,
good guy on the ice and off.
Yeah, and when he was in that Predator uniform, it just made you sick.
So it was like seeing Bernie Federko in the Red Wing uniform.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Not good. Not good. Well, but what is good is your St. Louis City has suddenly caught lightning in a bottle. And I don't have Keith Farrell here to do this in 1:30, so I'll do it in less. St. Louis City won 3-1 at San Jose. Gentleman named Brendan McSorley, a youngster that was drafted in the 3rd round of the Super Draft in 2024, scored 2 goals. And I put in the chat, McSorley has 2 goals. And Tom, you asked if it was Marty McSorley, which it was not.
Yeah, that's what I was doing too.
But no, we liked Brendan because he played most of this year with City too. They would bring him in a couple games, and he would come in, and he was one of the 2 guys we said looked like he was trying to start a bar fight every time he was in there. But obviously he's got some skills in addition to being an instigator. So something to look forward to next year. City now 17-7, but here is the glorious, glorious part of that. They are now 1 point ahead of Kansas.
There you go.
That, you sons of... Okay. This Saturday, they play LAFC, who's incredibly good, at 7:30 down at Energizer Park. I will be there. LAFC has 50 points. They're 14-7-8. They're 4th overall in the West. They've got some things to play for because they want to get as high up in those standings as they can for home field advantage in the playoffs. So there is your City report. I don't know if I went over 1.5 minutes on that, Spur. What do you think?
I don't think you did.
Okay, cool. It's time for the last call, which is brought to you by Black Dog Consulting. Black Dog is here to help the one truck owner and the small fleet owner grow and prosper. Our buddy Dave Reinhardt. Dave has 37 years of experience, 4 million plus miles. He can do flat bed, steep deck, over-dimensional dry vans, and refrigerated units. He also has experience with dispatch, brokerage, back office, and he grew the last fleet he managed from 1 truck to 5 with a yearly gross revenue of $3.7 million. If this is what you're looking for, give Dave a call at 417-217-1210. That's Black Dog Consulting, helping you retrieve bigger profits. Joe Sperlin, what do you have for a last call?
Well, as you kind of brought it up, Ron, Lane Kiffin's daughter is dating the linebacker from. It's a heck of a week to post that, but I think the other thing I'm interested in is tonight was the video they had of the story of the many lives of Lane Kiffin. I'm looking forward to watching tonight. I did see a video of him and his daughter, and she referred to him as the wallet, I believe is what it was. Whenever she referenced him, she just said the wallet, and he just would look at her, and then I think he come back and called her the drain. I think is what he said, because she said, "Drain, why are you calling me drain?" He goes, "Because that's what I might as well do, is just throw my money down the drain." And I'm just like, this can't be real. Is this AI? But anyway, I'm looking forward to watching that.
I think that's going to be highly, highly entertaining. Mr. Lansdowne.
30 years ago today, Cal Ripken broke Lou Gehrig's streak.
Jeez. Holy cow.
Do you think he ever needed load management or had general body fatigue?
Yeah.
Are we going to get into the Kevin Costner thing?
That's not true.
Oh, I don't know. But, you know, there's a record that'll never be broken. We say that, and then you wonder, there's nobody beating Cal's streak.
No.
Joe, there's a podcast you need to listen to if you don't think that's real, by the way.
Fake news.
One more quick nugget. On this date in 1967, for the St. Louis Cardinals, Jim Bakken kicked 7 field goals.
Against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
That was the record that stood for a long time. No, I think someone got 8.
Someone got 8. Yeah, it stood for a long, long time.
Yeah, that's a frustrating. And that was Jim Hart's rookie year, believe it or not.
Yep.
Talk about, and Tom, you and I lived this. It was like every other year they tried to replace Jim Hart, and then except for when Coryell was there.
Yep, they finally brought in Coryell, a guy who appreciated him. Charlie Winter hated him as the coach. He wanted to get rid of him. And then Jim Hart came in, or Don Coryell came in and said, "Oh, he's my starter." And bam, it was amazing.
If you want to see some of the worst NFL passing statistics ever, and I know it's not nice to speak ill of the dead, but Tim Van Galder. You should just look at his NFL passing line, because he was a guy that they tried to replace Jim. And TVG, as they called him up here, was on Channel 4 for years and years.
Exactly. Well, and they also traded a young wide receiver named Bobby Moore to Buffalo.
Bobby Moore.
To get a quarterback, Dennis Shaw. Bobby Moore soon changed his name to Ahmad Rashad and went to Minnesota and kind of became I don't know if he's Hall of Famer, but he's probably pretty close.
And folks, speaking of records that will never be broken, if you have not seen Bobby Moore's 98-yard non-touchdown reception, you can find that with a quick Google search. But yeah, the ball was on the 1-yard line, complete a pass to Bobby. He's drugged down on the 1-yard line. So he had a 98-yard non-touchdown reception. Just insane. Tom, what do you have?
This probably won't be a popular opinion either on the podcast or in St. Louis in general. But I want to say thank you to John Mozeliak. He's done a decent job here. I mean, the last few years have been rough. But I don't know if anybody's aware, before he became GM or even assistant GM, he was the scouting director here. He drafted 2 players named Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina, kind of set the foundation for this team for the next 20 years. And then once he became GM, the trades he made in 2011 at the deadline, that really set up the winning that championship. And even the trade to get rid of Jimmy Edmonds and bring in David Freese. So I know the last few years haven't been all that great. I blame it more on ownership not wanting to spend money and Mo feeling that he has to get more for his money and going out and getting first guys that he can find that'll take some money. So, but I think he's done a great job. And I appreciate everything he's done for city of St. Louis and the Cardinals.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree. I mean, it was one of those things where when you started to kind of look back at the full record, very solid. I mean, you don't see people with a run like him.
Right. And my thing too is they've always done it as they wanted one face out there, and it was him. And he may not have always said things the best way. And I like him because all the radio interviews and stuff that I've seen, he's a smartass. You know, he's just a good guy. If somebody I'd like to go out and have dinner with or something, spend a couple hours, I would buy his book if he'd ever write a book, because there'd be things in there that has never been released, and I think it would be pretty interesting. And the last podcast or last radio show I heard him on yesterday, he intimated that Randy Rosarina was traded because of the issue in the Atlanta clubhouse. So, you know, that is probably why he was gone.
And they said that they picked Tyler O'Neill over him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But
they said they knew they could have one right-handed hitting outfielder.
Yeah.
I liked, and back to you referring to him as a smartass, I like when they brought up Rosarena, and his line was, "Oh, you're playing all the hits today, aren't you?"
Yep. Exactly. He's just, he's a good guy.
So for my last call, we've talked about Mike Gundy leaving, and, there is a hall of fame of coaches and players that say, Joe Sperlin, we talking about practice.
Oh, yeah.
Playoffs.
Yeah.
And one of the very first was it was probably a Tuesday news conference, and Mike Gundy said the following. I want to talk about this article right here. If anybody hasn't read this article, I don't read it. This was brought to me by a mother of children. I think it's worth reading. Let me tell you why I want to talk about this article. 3/4 of it is inaccurate. It's fiction. And this article embarrasses me to be involved with athletics tremendously. And that article had to have been written by a person that doesn't have a child and has never had a child and that's had their heart broken and come home upset and had to deal with the child when he is upset and kick a person when he's down. Here's all that kid did. He goes to class. He's respectful to the media. He's respectful to the public, and he's a good kid. And he's not a professional athlete. That's changed a little bit. And he doesn't deserve to be kicked when he's down. If you have a child someday, you'll understand how it feels, but you obviously don't have a child. I do. Your child goes down the street and somebody makes fun of him because he dropped a pass in a pickup game or says he's fat, and he comes home crying to his mom. You'd understand, but you don't have that. But someday you will. When your child comes home, you'll understand. If you want to go after an athlete, one of my athletes, you go after one that doesn't do the right things. You don't downgrade him because he does everything right and may not play well on Saturday. You let us make that decision. That's why I don't read the newspaper, because it's garbage. And the editor that let it come out is garbage. Attacking an amateur athlete for doing everything right, and then you want to write articles about guys that don't do things right and downgrade them, the ones who make plays. Are you kidding me? What's at in society today? Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40. I'm not a kid. Write something about me or our coaches. Don't write about a kid that does everything right, his heart's broken, and then said the coaches that he was scared. That ain't true. And then to say that we made that decision because Donovan Woods, because he threatened to transfer, that's not true. So get your facts straight. And I hope someday you have a child and somebody downgrades him and belittles him, and you have to look him in the eye and say, you know what, it's okay. They're supposed to be mature adults, but they're really not. Who's the kid here? Who's the kid here? Are you kidding me? That's all I've got to say. Makes me want to puke.
Ron, you should have done that behind a podium.
But he was walking around, remember? He was like,
yeah.
As I was saying, he was pacing around, mad as hell.
Just an absolute epic.
Hey, I saw today they asked Cale Gundy, his brother, what he was going to do, and he said, I'm going with him. He's not done.
Ooh, really? That could be an interesting hire. A recharged Mike Gundy.
Now, it may be at Stillwater High School, but still.
But that's kind of what's changed in college football. Is back then the players respected that, and they'd play for a guy like that. Now it's showing the money.
Yeah. Back to Glengarry Glen Ross. Get them to sign on the line that is dotted. So,
Yep.
With that, we want to thank you for joining us for this episode of the St. Louis Sportists. Again, you can find us wherever you find podcasts. Joe Sperlin, thank you, sir.
It's a rainy night down here. I may curl up on my new orange couch over there by the fire after this.
That's a fine idea. It's a late Cardinal game. You can watch the Cardinals
Right.
make their chase here. Doug
That's
Lansdowne.
USA.
Ed Orgeron couldn't have said that any better.
Yep.
Go Tigers. Tom Mathis.
Enjoy the Ryder Cup and enjoy these last 4 games of baseball this season. Hopefully we have a different team coming back next year.
It's the Rogers Hornsby line. What do you do during the winter? I stare out the window and wait for spring. And on that note, we will catch you next week on the St. Louis Sportists Podcast. Until then, take care.
And that wraps another episode of the St. Louis Sportists Podcast. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest episodes. You can find these guys on all major podcast platforms. And thanks for listening.